Welcome back. My name is David Hopper, and this video is part of a 26-part series that follows the alphabet from A to Z. Each letter represents an important part of the launch process for new ministries, new campuses, and new churches. Now in this video, we're talking about S, success attitudes. What are those things that make you successful? The first one is drive. I love driven people. You can be running in the complete wrong direction, and I have to give correction often to you. But if I do not have to get you motivated to run, I love that. George Washington Carver once said, 99% of all failures come from people who have a habit of making excuses. There'll always be excuses of why something can't be done, why now is not the best time, why you won't be successful. But what if we stopped making excuses? This will be possible if you have the drive to succeed. You'll have to stop making excuses. You will have to stop worrying about failure, and there are lots of people who live like that. Be that top 1% with the drive to be successful. I heard a pastor talk about how he would stand at the door after every service, and he would greet people as they were leaving the church. Every week, one person would go out the door muttering about something they hated, about the sermon or something that rubbed them the wrong way. They scowled. They said they're never coming back to this church. Then a couple people later, someone would say as they walked out the door, "That was the greatest thing that I've ever been a part of. The message touched me so deeply. My relationship with Christ will never be the same." What's the difference between those two people? They sat in the same service. They came to the same church. Nothing about the information or the experience was different. The only difference was the person and how they chose to experience that morning. That really stuck with me. I realized that life is what we make of it. In every situation, the only difference between me and everyone else is how I choose to experience the moment. I have a drive to make every moment count. When I'm stuck somewhere, think like DMV. I can choose to scowl and be angry at the time that I'm wasting, or I can open up my iPad, which I never leave home without, and use that time to make personal gain of some kind. Do you have the drive to be successful in this life? Do you have the drive to accomplish whatever you're trying to launch? There's going to be lots of naysayers, or as they like to call themselves in the Christian world, devil's advocates. I love how negative people always think they're the only ones to bring some new perspective to what you're trying to accomplish. I've always been fascinated by that because those are a dime a dozen. It is the encourager, the motivator that's hard to find in this world. Be that person. Have the drive to be the encourager, even if it has to be for yourself. Remember, from one of our earlier videos, you're the only one in this world with your spiritual gifts and your talents and your background, your experiences, living where you live, working where you work. You have been strategically placed for such a time as this. The only thing left is for you to get that drive to get it done. The second success principle is big goals. The second success attitude we have to focus on in this life is big goals. This one has really gotten me in trouble more than once, so I hesitate to put it on here, but I just don't want to live any other way. There's lots of people that like to set small goals that are fairly easy to reach each year so they can say they were successful. I prefer to be around those world changers in this world that are out trying to accomplish big things for the kingdom of God. This makes life more fun. Dreamers who are going for it. I have taken on most positions in my life setting these God-sized goals for the organization and then doing everything in my power to make it happen. Was I successful? Rarely, but we got really far every time. There were people who would like to point out what I didn't accomplish in my overly ambitious dreams, but you just have to keep moving forward. There will always be those people or organizations that think that way. They don't last. Actually, I should say that in the opposite way. They do last. They stay in that same place forever because they don't set the big goals. It is great for job security, but it is not great for experiencing the best of life. When you set the big goals, every now and then you get to see a God-sized miracle that will change your life forever. I've had a realization of this point when I was reading the Bible and I read about 5 miracles in a row in one chapter of the Bible. I had to stop and read it again because I realized those 5 miracles had taken place over hundreds of years for God's chosen people. It dawned on me that between verses, there could be 20 plus years that passed. We read the stories and we think, wow, look at what God is doing. But imagine living in that time period with 20 years between miracles, wondering where God is. God's timing is different than my own, but I need to stay focused on His plan over my own. They are bigger, they're better, and they're a lot more fun. If we go for the big goals, we're going to have more fun. I saw a comic strip once that had this bum that was sitting next to a businessman, and the bum says, "I'm wealthy beyond my wildest dreams. Unfortunately, my dreams were never very wild." Michelangelo said, "The greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it." Robert Fritz said, "If you limit your choices only to what seems possible or reasonable, you disconnect yourself from what you truly want, and all that is left is a compromise." Don't settle for those small, obtainable goals that most people live life with. Be the dreamer who has God-sized goals. They might just happen, and the success, it will taste so much sweeter. Which brings us that third success attitude, inspire. This is pretty much what I'm trying to do with this video right now. Inspire people to their greater purpose in God. How can we inspire others daily? Earlier in the videos, I talked about this GPS that's in our mind. It is probably one of the main life-changing illustrations that I discovered in my own life. When we set our minds on something, it triggers our mind. It triggers our body and soul to make it happen. The way I do this is to have a list of things that I want to accomplish every day. I have that same iPad ready to go with an entire list for the day. This list is filled with inspiration. Some of the items on the list are those daily tasks and things that we have to get done as a part of life or the job that you're doing, but most of the list is filled with inspirational projects to make a difference in this world. I've tried to build a life in which my job is not the task itself, but rather part of the inspirational person I want to be in this world. See, pastor was a good choice for me in this life. Malcolm Forbes said, "The biggest mistake people make in life is not trying to make a living at doing what they most enjoy. Whatever goal that you give to your subconscious mind, it will work night and day to achieve." Andrew Carnegie said, "If you want to be happy, set a goal that commands your thoughts, liberates your energy, and inspires your hopes." Are you inspired daily? Do you inspire people daily? Lou Holtz said, "If you are bored with life, if you don't get up every morning with a burning desire to do things, you don't have enough goals." Which brings us to the fourth success attitude. Be a doer. I'm amazed at how many people in our world love to talk about ideas. They analyze and plan and organize. They make great spreadsheets, but they never actually get out there and do it. I realize that there are different perspectives on this issue, but I've seen so many great ideas die in meetings. They are discussed and bogged down with what ifs that we never even try. Many times we need to just get the plan in motion. It will never start out perfectly, but you will learn fast, make necessary corrections, and keep taking action, building momentum and producing results. Many times, the difference between those who are successful and those who are not is simply that the ones who kept grinding it out win. They didn't give up when it didn't work right the first time. They didn't have death by meeting or death by analyzation, that they kept tweaking it until it worked. Jimmy Johnson once said, "Do you want to be safe and good, or do you want to take a chance and be great?" I love that. I'm going to keep taking risks and doing until God does something awesome with my life. And I need to say awesome again to that statement because I have risked a few times already and seen the results of what God can do when you have a God-sized dream. You take the risky step forward and then you actually see it happen. Something to keep in mind, you're not talking about success versus failure. If it's a God-sized vision, then you really didn't have it before, and most likely no one had it before. It probably didn't even exist. I like to lean towards failing's not even an option. We set a God-sized goal, and we may get all the way there, 3/4 the way there, 1/2 the way there. We win no matter what. It's just about how big is the win along the way. Now that is a success attitude. My final success attitude for you, if you really want to do well at this, is be genuinely curious. Do not pretend to be curious. Do not pretend to be listening just so you can say what it is you want to say. Have a genuine curiosity as if everyone was created by God and has something to give this world and to teach you. Guess what? They are created by God and there is something for you to learn from them. Now stop talking and instead figure out what it is. Be curious about other people, what they feel, how they think, how they see the world. What are their hopes, their dreams, their fears? What are their aspirations? What obstacles are they facing in life? When you are curious about other people, you stop focusing on self and you actually become a happier, more fun person. Choose to use wise words at the appropriate time and let others fill the room with noise. Wise words include speaking well of people in all situations. Always seek to find how God created someone special, even if they are frustrating. Ephesians 4:29 says, "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers." Be someone who cares and appreciates the creations of the Lord, and you'll find yourself not saying evil things about people. Curiosity leads to appreciation. So as you launch something great in this world, have an attitude of success. What does that mean? Drive. Someone with the drive to push through the Debbie Downers of this world or the devil's advocates of this world. Have big goals. Set goals that are God-sized goals, and you may not get all the way there, but measure your success based on how close you got from zero, not from an all-sum game of victory or failure. 3, inspire. Create a list that inspires you and others on a daily basis. 4, be a doer. There are plenty of people who like to talk about great things. Be someone who does great things. Build the plane while you're in the air. And 5, be curious. Be curious about each creation of this world. God has a purpose for all of us. At our next coaching session, I want you to tell me the 1 or 2 of these that you put into action this week. What was different when you did that? I look forward to hearing about it at our next meeting. The next video is T, thinking through the experience. It's a very practical way to run ministry, and I can't wait to talk to you more about it. See you next time, and thanks for watching.